Good evening, everybody. I am not Amy Jung. Unfortunately, Amy has is under the weather, and so I am actually doing the presentation instead. My name is Beth Perkins. I am the relationship advisor, relationship manager. I work closely with NSHSS, and some of you who are on the Zoom. I might have met you this past weekend at Scholars Weekend in Atlanta. And so please let me know that you're here. And I'm sure some of you have also applied for the St. Jude Leadership Society NSHSS cohort that will be this spring. And again, thank you. And I will be leading that as well. So tonight we're going to talk about be a light. And it's probably a little different than what you're usually used to discussing, but we all have value. We all have a light. And I really want y'all to see about to discover your light and how to let that shine. Danny Thomas, who is the founder of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, was indeed a light in this world. So let's just talk about our hopes for the day or for the evening. You're going to learn more about ALSAC, and ALSAC is the fundraising and awareness organization for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Our only our purpose is to raise funds and awareness for the hospital. So you'll learn more about ALSAC and Danny Thomas, the founder. And then we hope that you'll learn something about yourself and be inspired to let your light shine. And I hope you walk away being inspired by Danny Thomas's vision. So a little brief story about Danny Thomas's journey to fame and how he made a promise and how he kept that promise. Danny, it was in the early 30s, 1932, I believe. Danny was a second generation Lebanese immigrant. He was married, and his wife, Rosemary, was pregnant with their first daughter or their first child, Marlo Thomas. And Danny really wanted to be an entertainer. He knew that that's what he wanted to do. And but his family thought it would be best if he just worked, bought the storefront that he and Rosemary lived above in Detroit, Michigan. So Danny was a devout Catholic. He was very, his faith was very important to him. And so he went to church one day and he prayed to St. Jude Thaddeus, the patron saint of hopeless causes, and said, "If you will show me my way in life, I will build you a shrine." Now, Danny knew that he needed $70 to pay for the upcoming delivery, the hospital, and doctor's fees for the birth of his child, Marlo. He had $10 to his name. He put $7 in the alms plate, and the next week got a job as a dancing tube of toothpaste in television commercials and moved to Chicago to start his entertainment career. But Danny never forgot the promise that he had made. He didn't know what that promise would be, but he never forgot it. So fast forward about 20 years later, and Danny was in a hotel reading the newspaper, read an article about a young boy from Mississippi who had died because the local hospital refused to treat him because his family had no money and because he was Black. And that's when Danny kind of had his epiphany about, okay, I'm going to build a children's hospital. I am, no family will ever have to, be turned away regardless of their ability to pay, their race, their creed, their religion, because Danny truly believed that no child should die in the dawn of life. So Danny went back to his spiritual advisor, Cardinal Strict, and told him that this is what he wanted to do. And Cardinal Strict had actually been a priest in Memphis at St. Patrick's Cathedral on Beale Street. And Cardinal Strict said, if you're going to do this, I think that you need to build it in Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis is kind of central to the United States. At that time, the train and the interstate systems were being built. And so it was easier to get to. And so he and Cardinal Strick came to Memphis, met with city leaders, the medical community, and announced, I'm going to build this hospital, this children's hospital. And the leadership said, we don't need a children's hospital. We have an excellent children's hospital. What we need is a research hospital because we need to find out what's killing these children. So Danny went back, kind of gathered his entertainment friends, community, and they raised the money to build the hospital. But before that, he realized that if I'm going to be able to keep that promise of no family ever having to pay, I need to figure out how to do that. And so that's when he went back to his heritage, to the Lebanese and Arab and Syrian community at that time in the United States, and asked them, come with me and let's do this as a thank you to the United States for giving us the opportunities that we never would have had at home. And in our preamble, it's just a beautiful preamble. And our organization is based on the parable of the Good Samaritan, where it's our responsibility to help those who are in need. So on February 4th, 1962, the hospital opened. And, you know, that promise that he made to St. Jude was a solemn promise, but it was internal. It wasn't until Danny started sharing that promise and the passion to accomplish it that his dream started to become a reality. And so that's, you know, that's part of your journey. You know, I spoke with so many of y'all, and y'all have so many dreams this past weekend, and so many of you have so many dreams and plans for the future. And it's important to learn from how Danny was able to manifest and to put his dream into reality was basically through networking. He networked through his entertainment friends. He networked through his heritage. And so once you start networking and sharing your passion, you'll start to see your dreams become a reality. It's very important that you engage a lot of people. Danny once said, I'd rather have $1 from 1 million people than $1 million from one person. Danny was happy to see his hard work come to fruition. And just think about the atmosphere of 1962 when the hospital opened. It was a challenging dream for Danny to sell this idea, especially to build the hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, which was kind of the epicenter of the civil rights, movement. But Danny stuck to it. He made this promise and he was going to see it through. So I'm going to show you this next video to kind of let you see where it all began, how it started.
It's a glittering premiere at the Chicago Theater for Warner Brothers' I'll See You in My Dreams. A real dream has come true, for this benefit premiere launches a drive for a new hospital sponsored by the film star Danny Thomas, here arriving with his family. Years ago, Danny vowed he'd build a hospital if he ever became famous. $32,000 are subscribed, the first of 1 million Danny Thomas tells friends he'll raise for the St. Jude's Hospital of his dreams.
They said it couldn't be done. They said that it was a task which would break my heart. They said it was impossible. At this very moment, as I speak to you, in the city of Memphis, Tennessee, there is being constructed a hospital in the form of a star. There it is, in concrete, glass, and steel, to offer help to all the children of the world, regardless of race, creed, or economic status. You and I have vowed that we will do everything in our power, spiritually, physically, mentally, and financially, to bring about the defeat of these catastrophic diseases. We're going to begin with leukemia, and by God's grace, after defeating it, go on to other diseases. That little tiny building has led the world in advancements in pediatric science and clinical care, and now it's going to rise up. You will bring it to the fore through an organization called ALSAC. If I were to die tomorrow, I now know why I was born.
While we're sitting here making this video, there's a family that's walking through the front doors on a Friday afternoon, and they're at St. Jude. When we came to St. Jude, I asked the doctor, "Can you treat my child?" And he said, "No. We're going to cure him."
You know, Danny was incredible. And just a little background. When the hospital doors opened in 1962, the survival rate for acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which is the most common form of childhood cancer, was at 4%. And now we are close to a 95% cure rate. So I think Danny would be so amazed. He passed away in 1991. And I think that if he drove on campus now, he would be amazed at what his vision did. You know, when I think about Danny Thomas, I think about the power of one. Danny understood what it was to be without. He knew, and he knew that it would take all that he had, but he was also a great man of integrity and a lot of grit. So how did it all come together? Well, through awareness and life experience. We've already talked about Danny was a Lebanese immigrant. He was very strong in his faith. His family was very, very important to him. And also about affordable health care. He knew what it was like not to have money and to worry and stress about how am I going to pay for the birth of my child. And he also knew that he had talent and he knew that he could be successful. So Danny had this all happen, make it all happen by just raising awareness. He knew who he was and what he wanted, what was important to him, and he relied on his faith and family and empathy. You know, another thing that Danny was an expert at was communicating and networking. Danny was able to shine his light by how he communicated and connected with people. And, think for a moment, do you have people who support your dreams? Have you held space for these relationships throughout your life and throughout his life? I mean, Danny was so committed to inclusion and acceptance that even the hospital cafeteria, you know, a lot of hospitals have separate cafeterias for the doctors and for the patients. You know, one example is that our cafeteria, we've never had separate cafeterias. We want everybody, we become a family. When a family comes to St. Jude, we all become a family and a support system. So another thing that Danny did was that he was very intentional. He lived an intentional life. He knew who he was. He went out, he knew what he wanted. He went out and reached out to his heritage, said, hey, let's thank this country for everything that they've done for us. And he was committed to the mission that no child should ever die in the dawn of life. So for a moment, think about, how are you intentional in your life? Are you spending time with those that you love? And how do you share your gifts and your inner light? You know, I said earlier, I think that if Danny could see the impact of St. Jude around the world, how we have taken his dream and we've stayed true to our core of no family ever receiving a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, that we treat children from all 50 states and all over the world, and also with our agreement, our partnership with the World Health Organization, in that we're trying to increase the survival rates in middle to low income countries. You know, right now, or in 2018, they were at 20%, and they've asked us to help them increase those survival rates to at least 60% by the year 2035. And we are so very close because of our commitment, because of what we do. This year alone, of the 400,000 children that are going to be diagnosed in these countries, we're going to be able to provide treatment for 120,000 of those children. So, you know, we're really excited and proud of our mission and the vision of Danny Thomas. So I showed you a video about where we started, and now we're going to let you see where we are now.
Being a parent of a child who is diagnosed with cancer is a parent's worst nightmare.
We cannot save the world alone, but cancer cannot wait.
It hurts to think how it would be for a family to know that there's treatment available to save your kid's life, and you cannot access to it because you were born somewhere different.
Children are children. Cancer is cancer. The treatments are the same. Like Danny Thomas said,
I made a fantastic promise.
no child should die in the dawn of life.
I can't do it alone. I need your help. Please help.
It can be done. It is possible because you're there for us.
St. Jude was founded in the 1960s with a goal that no child should die in the dawn of life. And that means no child, period, anywhere.
We're all bound by a common goal to help save children. And what can be more pure than that?
As a scientist, I feel passionate about sharing data. So in the future, we can make the next patient suffer less and get better treatment across the world.
St. Jude Global idea goes beyond St. Jude. We will not stop until we have reached out to every single child with cancer in the world and cure more. That's a moral imperative to change the world.
For the persons supporting St. Jude, you are saving lives worldwide.
This is my mission. Not for the now, it's for the forever.
Together.
Together.
Juntos.
Together, we have an opportunity to make a difference around the world.
We are
Finding cures.
Here, saving children
Children.
everywhere.
everywhere.
Well, I'm sorry all the sound was not working on that, but I think one thing that we're truly proud of is that when we were asked to partner with the World Health Organization in 2018, that's when we founded St. Jude Global. And that is where you saw where we have over 100, we're in 170 we have 170 partners in 70 countries around the world. When the war in the Ukraine broke out, because of this network, we were able to evacuate over 1,000 patients and their family out of the war zone. And then just recently, in November of this year, or in July of this year, we started working on it last November. We were able to evacuate over 140 patients from the Gaza Strip. So, our efforts are worldwide. So let's kind of talk about how you can shine your light. We're all powerful and we all add value, and we're all meant to be here to do different things and to share our gifts in the world. So here are some questions that can guide you. First, like Danny, be aware, your life experiences. What are you naturally good at? What do you like to do? What's important to you? And then think about a time in your life that was particularly influential and why. And some of that might not have happened yet. You're all still so young, but I think that you're all so bright and have a lot of awareness. So kind of think about those experiences. And then how do you communicate and connect with people? Who are the most important people in your life? Who do you spend the most time with? Do those people truly know you, the authentic, genuine self? Could they possibly answer some of the things you reflected on when we were discussing awareness? When you were thinking about what are you naturally good at? Do they see your talents? Are you able to shine your talents and your gifts and share your gifts with them? One way to really connect with people, I'm not a big fan of like social media, but I do love LinkedIn. I think it's a great resource for you to connect with people who might help guide you in your journey. And also, your parents are your biggest fans, but also connect with a mentor or your coaches, or whether it's a team sport coach or just a life coach that you might have. And then finally, be intentional. Live an intentional, authentic life. Who do you spend the most of your time with? Are they supporting your growth journey? And do that directly or indirectly? And when you say yes to something, are you saying no to something else? Y'all are so driven, and it's so exciting to see y'all. I don't worry about the future because of so many of y'all that I've met. You're just so powerful, and you're very driven. But don't overdo yourself. Don't, overextend yourself. You don't need to be a member of every single club. You'll burn out. I have a nephew who is an incredible baseball player. But by the time he got to college, he was burned out, and he could have gone with, a full ride on a baseball and, Division I team, but he was just tired. So don't burn yourself out. Be selective. Find your passion and find your why. Why do you support something? Why is something very important to you? And then also think about, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do? Always think about that. I think about Danny when he's in that first video, when he talked about if he were to die today, he would know why he was born. So always be intentional in your life, be genuine, and be authentic. So now we're just going to watch a short video about finding your why. And I think that that is that's kind of the key to life, having respectful, healthy relationships and knowing why you do what you do.
If a scammer texted you this,
My female dog.
I'm sorry about this.
Are you interested?
that would be weird.
Reserve your puppy.
There we go.
So Cash App can alert you before you send them money. Because if it's
Gen Studio for Performance Marketing solves a challenge that
friends,
marketers have been facing for a long time.
There we go.
If a scammer texted you this,
My female dog has given birth. Are you interested?
that would be weird.
Reserve your puppy today.
So Cash App can alert you before you send them money. Because if it's weird for real, it's weird for real.
Shalom, everyone. My name is Eris Soref. I'm the president of One for Israel. I'm sure many of you have seen news about Israel and the Middle East.
Y'all, I'm so sorry this is not coming through, but basically it shows a gentleman who is asked to sing, and he sings Amazing Grace, and he just kind of sings it like you would sing it at any time. But then the gentleman says, sing it like you just found out that your son has just been accepted to the college of his choice, and that he won the lottery and everybody's going to be happy. And then the gentleman sings it with such just passion and power. And I'm disappointed that that did not come through, but hopefully it will on the link when it is shared out with everyone. But it's just a great video about finding your why, discovering who you are, and being a light to other people. So, if you want to just kind of jot down some answers to some of these questions about being a light and how you can affect change, and you can be the light in this world, and to use your talents. You are also very talented, and to be able to recognize how you can best utilize those talents. So I am going to stop sharing my screen, and if anybody has any questions, I am happy. Oh, I see some. Okay. All right. I think, is this Joanna Jones? She asked, how do you join the St. Jude Leadership Society? You can go to stjude.org, stjue.org/SJLS and apply. We ask that you click on the National Society of High School Scholars cohort now to join. And then, are there other locations of St. Jude in other countries? Well, there's only one hospital, and that is in Memphis. And within the United States, we have 8 affiliate clinics. But then throughout the country, or throughout the world, we have 24 clinics in 17 Latin American countries. We have a clinic in Beirut, Lebanon, and we are now working closely in Shanghai with them. We don't have a clinic yet, but we are helping them establish one. Okay. what exactly do members of the St. Jude Leadership Society do? Okay, so the Leadership Society itself is based on 4 sessions, general sessions that will be held in the spring. There'll be a session in January, February, March, and April. And the topics, and it's a shared experience. I think that is part of your email that you could look at the structure in the email that was sent out. But basically, you will have a mentor. It's usually a parent that will participate in this with you. And then you'll have leadership and speakers represented from St. Jude, as well as NSHSS. And then we'll walk you through some of the traits of Danny Thomas, and it's a leadership development program. So there's sessions on gratitude and good citizenship, inspired leadership, discovering your best self. And so we'll have these sessions. And in the meantime, we also ask that you we'll teach you about transformational fundraising. So we will talk with you about developing and implementing and executing a fundraising plan for the leadership development and program. And so there are some great incentives for this if you live within the United States. And if you raise $3,000, then we will invite you to come to campus where we in the summer for 2 days, where you will participate in further development, leadership development on campus with other high school students across the country. At that, we will pay at the $3,000 level. We will pay your hotel and food for you and your mentor. And then if you raise at least 5,000, then we will do the hotel, lodging, food, and then we will pay for the students' airfare to come. We won't pay for the mentors, but we will pay for the students to come. Okay, as a teenager, how can I focus on finding my purpose in life? Well, I don't think that you can necessarily know your purpose in life as a teenager, but I think that you have to think about, what do I enjoy doing? Does it make me feel good to help other people? And so, or support a cause, or what do I like to do? So it might be through coaching. It might be, you might have, well, let's see, you might know that, the homelessness or food insecurities might bother you. So maybe you volunteer at a soup kitchen or volunteer at a mission, and see what brings you joy and what brings you happiness. And if you're okay, and then someone said, what if my passions don't seem related to social justice issues I want to support? It doesn't have to be about social justice. I mean, your passions could be about, anything that you feel passionate and strongly about. So I think that you just have to find what works for you and what works in your space. And, and I think your parents and teachers and adults, and even your friends can be a great resource to find that. And then, are there any volunteering internship opportunities provided? We do not have internship opportunities for high school students. We do have them for college students. We have 34, 35 fundraising offices across the country, United States. And if you're in one of those markets, you can always apply for an internship with those development offices. Those are fundraising offices. And I think that The hospital itself has summer internship programs, research programs. And then, okay, Sydney, I see that you would like to answer that, so I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just making sure that they're going to the answered column.
Oh, okay. Do you have any tips on being the best version of yourself? Well, I'm going to tell you, I think the best advice is to always be authentic and ask questions, be able to take constructive criticism and grow from it. Don't be offended by it. And so that's kind of, and always be honest with yourself, be honest with those around you. Would we all be going into the hospital in person for the sessions, or are they online? The cohort itself is all online. It's all, it's Zoom. Now, when you come to, if you raise that amount of money and you come to campus for, the SJLS seminar this summer, then you will have a tour of campus. And, okay, for applying St. Jude Leadership Society, do I become a member? You become a member. If you've never, peer advisors are only for those students who have completed St. Jude Leadership Society before. Think I got everybody. So everyone, thank you so much. Sydney has my contact information. You are more than happy to, we're more than welcome to email me and with any questions, and I will get back to you. But I hope to see some of you this spring with the St. Jude Leadership Society cohort. I will also tell you that I can, through this, I can also give service hours for your participation and the not only participation in the 4 webinars that we will have, but also for the time that you spend on your fundraising efforts. So there's another added bonus. So thank y'all all again so much. Thank you for your interest in the mission of St. Jude. It is a fantastic mission, and I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving.